Hey, this is Jasmuheen, and you're watching QUEST.TV.
I'm Kevin Schuker, and this is QUEST.TV. We're here at the Raw Spirit Festival in sunny Sedona, Arizona, and we're nestled here amongst the beautiful red rocks at the Radisson El Diablo Resort. And this is a Saturday, and there's a lot of great stuff going on. Over here, over my left shoulder, you can see we have the Raw Spirit main stage. We have a musical performer at the moment. And there's a lot of workshops going on here, and music going on throughout the day and through the evening. And everybody seems to be having a great time. And if we pan over here to the right, we can see that we have a dome over here, and this is another workshop area where we can get a little sneak peek inside. You can see everybody sitting there waiting for the next workshop leader to appear. So we're having a great time here. There's lots of people, 3,000 people, great food, great atmosphere, great energy. And I'm Kevin Schuker, and I'm having a great time here at the Raw Spirit Festival.
Welcome everybody. The last few people who are coming, they can just come in quietly, I'm sure. It is just wonderful to be here and wonderful just to get this turnout. One of the reasons it's wonderful is because everything has become so simple these days. What's taken me 14 years of conscious work with this program, I can teach you in 5 minutes. But you're not going to like that. Because I could really say, look, let's do the love breath, 3 mantras, go home, that's enough. But your little monkey minds are going to go, no, we want more. So we're going to make it complicated and give you more.
And give us the short version also.
I'll give you the short version first, okay? Maybe, look, if you want to. But you know, we're going to be hanging out doing some really beautiful meditations together, very simple meditations, and some slightly more complex meditations. The beauty of most of the meditations that I do with people is that I treat the body like a computer. And once we've re-hardwired the etheric system, it's like setting in place a computer. It only has to be done once. I love that. And once we've put the programs in place, the rewiring system, the new software programs, again, a lot of it only has to be done once. You don't get up in the morning and switch on your computer, or you don't get up in the morning and reconfigure a whole computer. You don't do the wiring, you don't rewrite software programs. You get up, you put the on button on, and it runs. And it's the same with what we're going to do with some of the rewiring for new feeding patterns, new internal feeding patterns for you. Once it's done, it's done. And what makes the patterning or the operation of it strong is your expectation that it's in place and can do its thing. Okay? For example, we're going to do some very simple things today just to prove how powerful some of the alchemical tools I've been working with are. How many of you here have a difficulty with eating chocolate? Maybe not so much since David's made it popular. Anyone whose body can't handle chocolate? Okay, anyone whose body can't handle coffee? All right, that's more of you. Anyone who knows, anyone here who knows they have some simple negative reaction to any other sort of food, like fatty foods or something like that, junk foods? Okay, well, I want to show you some things today about how quick it is to reprogram the body, particularly with intention and using this symbol. This is the symbol of infinity, as you know, and when you weave that through your own electrical circuitry, it brings everything into balance. So we're going to play a few little games today just to show you some simple tools of how powerfully this stuff works. But I am not doing this to turn you back on to eating junk food or drinking coffee or eating a lot of chocolate. But one of the reasons I share this with people is because many people, when they make the conversion process to living purely on prana, the physical body really digs it. Okay, it really loves it. But your emotional body, that's a different game. Can you take a moment and make sure your mobiles are off? We only get cosmic telephone calls here and they make no noise. Okay, so there are certain stages that a human system will go through regarding the emotional reality of living on prana. But I wish to share with you, just right at the beginning, that all of us are already living on prana or we wouldn't be alive.
Yeah.
Okay? It's already bubbling through you, as we shared the other night. This matrix is already running through our life, and it is a matrix of the most incredible love. It's just a matter of whether your volume of connection into the matrix, unlike a radio station, is turned down to 1, and it's just bubbling enough to give you life, or whether it's on 3 or 4 or 9 or 10 or 20 out of 10. And that may sound strange, but you can really have this love frequency bubbling through your system so powerfully that the whole atomic structure of life will rearrange itself around you and project to you only the paradise worlds and absolute beauty. I like that. And I'd like to begin, oh God, I'm just going to channel it through and let it flow. What a concept. You know, I've been in the presence of the goddess Kuan Yin, and I don't know if many of you have connected with her in your meditations, but I've been meditating solidly for about 35 years, and some interesting things happen to you when you do that. Being honest with you, I've also worked with the ayahuasca plants and many of the sacred power plants, which some of you might like, you may not like. It's not really an issue, it's an individual journey. One of the things that I do is I just say to the universe, if this is good for me, let it happen. But let it happen with joy and ease and grace. I don't chase anything. I don't have to. It just gets delivered to your door if it's important for you. I was in France recently and spending time in Cathar country and flipping back through dimensional doorways into an embodiment there when I first was given the seed of concern for the children in our world who are dying of hunger. When you relive a lifetime where you've watched children dying of hunger as a mother and seen your friends and others dying of hunger, you start to put some very interesting projections out into the cosmic forces. Like, I would like one day to learn how to be free from the need to take food so I don't have to go through physical starvation. I would like one day to understand how to be free from the need to take physical food so the children of our world can have this knowledge and not die that very, very painful death of physical starvation. Okay? So I didn't know where this reality came from until about 2 weeks ago when I was conducting a sacred art workshop in France, which is another thing that I like to do. So the point of this is that you have, many of you, pre-programmed into your cellular structure that this will be your reality this life. Okay? You also have pre-programmed into your cellular structure complete memory of when you already did this. So it's nothing new here. So your body will just go, woohoo! Fantastic, really? I don't have to digest food anymore. I don't have to do cooking. I don't have to do shopping. Or I don't have to do the raw food game of very, specific, awareness of what's organic and what the chemical structure is, if there's pesticides, coloring, whatever. Prana is absolutely pure. It has no genetic modifications. It has no insecticides. It has no coloring. It has none of this stuff. It's just a matter of pumping up the volume to a soft, to a safe level. As we said the other night, if it's just giving you life and it isn't good enough, if you stop eating, you're going to die. But if you can pump it up so it's a good, strong current already in the matrix within you, just rising, bubbling through you, and you have a clear intention, then it's going to do its thing and it gives you freedom. So I had this background of doing the religious game, asking to receive. And by the time I was about 16, I was put in the presence of some of the Indian gurus from India and was taught very ancient tools of meditation from the Vedas, which I really love. One of the things that they shared with me at that time was, in meditation, we need to go beyond the mind. It took me 5 years to realize my mind never shuts up. Does yours? And now and then I would zoom into that state of meditation, but it was now and then. And I didn't know, I mean, that state of the purest channels of love where there is no mind, yes, it's there, but you don't know you've been there until you come back. You don't know where you've been, because mind can't go there. All you know is that you've sat to meditate at a certain time, and 1 hour later, you're back and feeling really good, you know? But in the meantime, when you're not zipping in those places of deep, deep delta brainwave frequency meditation, you have this mind that, as we said the other night, needs to be our servant. It needs to know who the boss of the system is, so that when we do the sorts of programming we're going to do today, the body just goes, no problem, not an issue, I can do this. Because it knows who its master is. And its master is not our monkey mind, it is not our emotional body, and it's not the physical system, as you know. So part of this is a very, very strong relationship, mind, higher mind, divine mind, to the body. At the beginning of this year, I'm just going to tell you a lot of different stories, and you'll absorb what works for you, and then we'll go into our first meditation of the day. I want to give you a little bit of potential about this mechanism and what it can do when it understands who is really the boss and when it's well loved. I was in Thailand at the beginning of the year, and for those of you who want more of this at the end of the day, we do every 2 years a darkroom retreat. I do it in Chiang Mai at the Dao Gardens, Master Mantak Chia's place. He'll take people through darkroom for a few weeks. He gives them 3 meals a day, very different to what I do. We come in and we'll put you into 11 days and 11 nights of absolute darkness, no external light at all, no sunlight as in Hira's system. We are going straight in through the atomic structure to absorb the prana from the inner planes, to bring it back, to flood the cells, to flood the atoms, to flood the organs and the skeletons with very clear commands. What I found this year is our group, we have about 33 people, it's a small group. Everybody who attended, the skinny ones, they lost about 1 kilo or a half a kilo for those 11 days and nights. What does that mean? Something's working. Something's working. It's fantastic. It's so easy now. Clear intention. Now I'm talking about 11 days and 11 nights of absolute darkness with no food, and many of us no fluid. So to lose half a kilogram to a kilogram as a skinny person, which many of us went in thin, and that's all the weight we lost, then something is working. So our systems are running well. Before I went to the darkroom retreat, I was in a little island called Koh Tao. They call it Turtle Island in Thailand. And I was hanging out with my German publisher and a few and his wife. And again, a lot of people find, it's an interesting point, when you are someone who is living on prana and your love radiation is strong, people naturally lose their appetite around you. Okay? So one thing I'd like to share before I go on is my policy is zip it and radiate. Okay? Too much separation from words, too much separation in concepts. I'm not interested in words, but we'll talk a lot today. I'm interested in people connecting to that divine love source within you and letting it flood through every cell, every atom, feed you along the way and out into the world to feed the world. So my friends were with me. They weren't eating. They were having a little bit of coconut juice for a few days, which is all I was doing, because coconut juice is nice sometimes too. We'd spent a whole day where we'd been so busy doing really big physical activities. So we were swimming and we were snorkeling and we were climbing up sacred mountains, up hundreds of steps to visit temples, and just having a full day of physical activity. At about 6 o'clock that night, we're climbing up another 1,000 steps to the temple. And my body said, I'm tired. Now what would you do? You could say, I love you, body, all right, I'll give you a rest. Which is nice. And you'll sit and you recuperate and you give a rest. Or you can say, body, repattern yourself now into perfect strength. That's the sort of program I'm talking about. So as I said that to my body, you know you're saying you're tired now, but come on, you have this light body, you have this energy meridian, you have God consciousness, you have the ability right now to shape shift like the shaman do in American Indian tradition. Maybe I don't know how because I haven't really focused on that one, but with all of that ability, I'm sure you can just repattern yourself right now and bring me into perfect strength so I can go up this mountain feeling fantastic. That was my thought form. I'd never thought about that before. So the point is, whatever you think you can do, or you wouldn't have the thought, as we said the other night. So as I said this to my body got a bit confused, and it was like, oh, I haven't done this before. And then it was like, come on, body, repattern into strength now. And all of my lower body just shifted, and it was like muscular things changing, everything changing, strength came in and power up that mountain. Do you like that? So this is the sort of reality I'm talking about, laying down into the physical structure with a very clear mind-body connection, which must be based in a lot of love. Okay, so we'll start with a love breath meditation, but I want to give you one other story about what this love breath meditation does and the power of it as well. I have a friend in Belgium, and as you can imagine, there's about 30,000 people in our planet living purely on prana now. There's at least another 30,000, 40,000 who could easily switch if they decide to, but at the moment they like the pleasure of food. So there's a lot of interesting things happening as the energies in our planet shift, and as we become more naturally loving, kind-hearted, pure-hearted beings. These things are naturally rising within us. So I have a friend in Belgium, and she's in her 70s now, and she has a biological age of 17. When I stay with her, one of the first times I stayed with her, she said to me, I get up early in the morning because one of the issues with this is many of us don't need much sleep. So she said, do you want to come for a run in the forest with me in the morning? And she lives right beside a big forest. And I said, yeah, sure, about what time? And she said, oh, probably about 4:30, 5 o'clock. And I said, but Erica, it's pitch dark. And she said, yeah, I know. And like, there's no lights in the forest. It's a forest and it's dark. And my little limited monkey mind, because I have the same problem sometimes, my little mind said, oh, but if I'm running through the forest at 4:30 in the morning and it's pitch dark, how do I know the pathway? And how do I see on the ground to avoid tripping over rocks and tripping over stumps and, you know, like being safe? That was my little question. And she just said, I don't think about that. I just expect it to be wonderful. Which was a great learning for me. Because what is happening with her and many of us is that she is emanating such frequencies of such harmony that she instinctually can move through the forest, instinctually, you know, stepping over a rock as she's running, instinctually finding the right pathways, never having a problem, because as she says, she never expects to. She just expects to be able to be this beautiful, you know, 70-something-year-old woman who's 17 years old biologically, who can run on wings of grace through a dark forest in the middle of the night, never get lost and never have a problem. And guess what? It works. Never a problem for her. That is the power of the mind and how it is relating to the universal forces when one has a clear intention. So how many of you have had these sorts of experiences? Many of us, we know. And this is what is about being in harmony with the fields. But it first must come inside of us. I know that many of you here are ready for what we're sharing today, and we'll run a lot on your question and answers. The only shift I'm finding as I travel the world now is that people are just making a little mindset change. That's it. You're already in the frequency field. You're already resonating in this matrix. This matrix is already running and bubbling through you and giving you a good life filled with magic and grace. Yeah? How many of you here's life is filled with magic and grace? Yeah. So for you, it's just a simple little mental check and some safety testing tools. All right? What I want to do today with you is share with you some of the basic things we teach everybody, because you're your own guru, you're your own boss, and you need to move into this very, very safely. Like, what is your prana percentage right now? Okay? What is your... We'll do this before the love breath meditation, because I'll get you to check it before and after, and then you can see the power of this meditation. Because you can increase your prana percentage flow very, very powerfully. Okay. This is a tool that I learnt from the Australian Aboriginals. As many of you know, my daughter's connected with an Aboriginal man. My granddaughter now is part Aboriginal, so I get to hang out more and more with the Aboriginals, and because we're family, because we're blended blood, they tell me stuff which I really like. So... As you know, all the mystery schools and all the wise ones now, they're just coming out and just sharing their information with the white fellas who they think might be able to deal with it appropriately. You imagine an Australian Aboriginal out in some of the deserts like you have here. I've never seen deserts here like I've seen in Australia. But let's say here's an Aboriginal person and it's like dinner time. I'm hungry. Which way to Kangaroo? There's no supermarket, there's no raw food organic place. It's just desert everywhere. Now you have to know instinctually which way to your dinner or you're going to die. Or, what if you're really thirsty, which way to water? You have to be able to know this. So the Aboriginals is the same with many Indigenous. They talk about Great Spirit. And they have this very interesting reality which I've modified slightly because I don't have all their gifts. They say, truth comes through the North Star. This is a Taoist understanding as well from the Immortalists. Don't have to write all this down because we make a simpler version. They say, if we face the north and we say, Great Spirit, use my body as a pendulum. Move me forward for a yes answer, backwards for a no answer. Yeah? So they make a statement, this way to Kangaroo. No. This way to Kangaroo. No. This way to Kangaroo. Yeah. So where do they go? Where dinner is. Very easy, isn't it? There's a limitation to this tool which which we'll talk about later, but what I found when I started using this tool is, yes, it's great, your divine one, Great Spirit, will use a chi blast to literally rock you forward or backwards when you make a statement. So it's not, is this the way? It is this way too, or this is, okay? So you make a positive statement and you get this response. But the problem I had is I didn't know which way was north. You know? Like I might be in Moscow, in Russia, and there's clouds, and I can't, you know, the stars aren't happening, the sun's not happening, whatever. And remember I said the other night, and this is such good advice, never become dependent on anything outside of yourself. So for me, in the beginning, I used this tool by getting a compass. Well, that's a bit limiting. What happens if you lose the compass? Oh, I can't use this test because I don't have my compass and I don't know which way is north. Your divine one is not limited, as somebody pointed out to me. You can just simply say, divine one, within, O God that I am, or Great Spirit, whatever you label it, use my body as a pendulum. Move me forward for a yes answer, backwards for a no, whatever, independent of direction, and it will work. So one of the things we're going to measure with you now before we begin is, what is your current prana percentage? As I said, you zip it, you radiate it. I don't care about your model of reality. I don't care what religion or non-religion or whatever your beliefs are. It's not an issue for me. Because you know if it's working for you, because one, you'll be magnetizing a lot of love. Okay? If your lifestyle is really working for you, you'll be getting a good prana percentage when we test this. Secondly, if your lifestyle is really working for you, your biological age should be quite a bit younger than your chronological age, especially of those of you like me in our 5th decade and above. So 2 things to check. Your biological age is going to be younger. Your prana percentage should be solid. And the 3rd one, as we said the other night, grace. You know, and many of you have already put your hands up. You're getting a lot of grace. You're getting a lot of magic in your life. So all we need to do now is check your prana percentage. A few issues with this. We will ask your prana percentage, like the question would be for those writing it down so you can check it in future, but we'll do it physically. I want to start at 50%, and there's reasons for this, okay? If you say, I am now being nourished by more than 50% by prana, and you get a no, then you go, okay, I'm now being nourished by more than 40% by prana. You might get a no, so go back 30, etc. till you check, yeah? If you say, I'm now being nourished by more than 50% of my needs from prana, and you get a yes, then check for 60. Then check for 70. It's pretty easy. More than 50, more than 60. Your Divine One knows what we're asking, because we do this all around the world. But there's a subtlety here. You can have your physical nourishment being more than 50% for prana, which is a different thing to say my physical nourishment to your total nourishment. Because you can be magnetizing a lot of prana because of your emotional body's reality. You can be a person who's just so open-hearted and so pure of heart and just giving and giving and giving, so your emotional body quotient, your spiritual body quotient, is higher than if we just measure the physical body quotient. Do you know what I'm saying? So here we're talking about exactness in what we're programming for, in what we're checking. I want to check what the physical body reality is, because if you get a yes for 50%, okay, what does that mean physically? Straight away, you can halve your dependence on the world's food resources safely by eating half what you're currently eating. Straight away. What a good gift to the planet. Because if your body has confirmed you are already magnetizing 50% of what you need for nourishment, which is the question, the statement, then you can immediately halve your food intake if you want. Okay? So again, we'll have question and answer time today in case I haven't downloaded something and it needs to be downloaded into the field. So there are 2 differences here. Your total being nourishment from prana and just the physical body. So you can safely unhook. What about if we then check, same methodology but different question, what if we check about your cosmic particle hydration flow? That's another one. Because in order to be someone who needs to be free from taking physical fluid, if you get a 90% on the cosmic particle hydration, which is different to nourishment, would you stop drinking at 90%? No way. You've still got a 10% dehydration level. With a 10% dehydration level, over time, you could have kidney collapse. If you get a 60 or a 70, or let's say you even get an 80% yes on your pranic nourishment, would you stop eating? No, because you're still going to go into 20% fasting mode. Yeah? So why we teach this tool is so that you can be your own measurer in a very simple way. So step by step, as you keep refining your realities and doing the things you do, you can check when your body's ready. But I would like to say to you, there is no rush. We have forever. Okay? When you make the statement, I have forever, it's a baby mantra in claiming your physical immortality. But beyond that, if you have pre-agreed to demonstrate your Christed nature's ability to live on prana this life, you are going to get all the support, all the kicks you need to do it anyway. And if you're dragging the chain and you're being slow and you're not quite manifesting these things you agreed to manifest pre-embodiment, all the support and everything you need is going to come so you do, because it's a pre-embodiment commitment. And everything you commit to pre-embodiment, you will get all the help on all the levels from all the universal forces to do. Guaranteed. No rush. Okay? So therefore for me, this path must be one of joy and ease and grace. Let it just happen naturally, as you've been allowing it to happen naturally with raw food and everything else that you've been doing. Nothing to prove to anyone, just you, in your own time, in your own pace, if this is part of your blueprint. So again, we'll use this testing method to test these basic things. There's a breathing tool that I prefer to what I'm about to teach you. And once we've done this one, we'll go into the breathing tool, because some of you are only here in the morning, and this is a great tool to guide you for testing as well. All right, so let's stand up. Let's find out where you're at with your prana quotient. All right, so have a shake. Just shake yourself out so you're really loose like a tree. Right, what we want to do is we want to get into a space where chi can move us, because chi is just our divine force nature. Okay, now let's get comfortable. Your feet just, shoulder width apart. Just big breath. Soft knees. We want to be able to just move it easy, okay? Now you are not forcing anything, you're just going to stand still and see how the chi moves you. And in order to kick in, we'll just do some simple silly testing so you get the feel before we ask more important matters. Alright, so eyes shut. Just imagining the group divinity knows everything, knows the games we're playing. And we make this statement, just one statement of intention. I now ask the divinity within the God I am, use my body as a pendulum. Move me forward for a yes answer and backwards for a no. Just imagining this pure and perfect part of us is listening. We make the statement, I am in a female body. Just say this like a chant over and over in your mind to keep the monkey mind busy while the chi can move you. I am in a female body. I am in a male body. I am in a male body. Okay, some of you may be getting a yes for both because you're a split soul, you're running two lives simultaneously, but that's another discussion. How many of you here got a clear movement forward or back? Okay. This technique tends to work for pretty well everyone. It's very rare that it doesn't. The only question is, can you override it with your mind, which yes you can, until you learn to feel the subtlety of the chi flow. But let's play with this and ask some interesting questions. Alright, I want you just to think of a number in your mind which is your biological age, because intuition is always the first guide. So just thinking biological age, what number comes to you? Okay, now, has everyone got a number? If you haven't got a number, we'll test this in a different way. But just thinking of that number, you now make the statement, eyes closed, relaxed. Make the statement, my biological age is... Insert the number in your mind and see how the body reacts. My biological age is... You may get a yes or a no. Okay, for those of you who didn't, make the statement. My biological age is more than 10 years younger than my chronological age. More than 10 years younger. If you get a no, check if it's more than 5 years younger. If you get a yes, more than 15 years. Alright, again you can get your exact age later, but how many of you have got a response that you are biologically younger? Alright, those of you who got a no, change your lifestyle. You know, just refine it. Okay, let's move on to prana. You can see how easily this method works, yeah? Okay, so you can get the exact biological age later. Now we'll look at your prana percentage, okay? And again, we'll just start at 50%. So eyes closed, soft knees, making the statement, prana now provides more than 50% of my nourishment. If you get a yes, more than 60. If you get a no, more than 40. Okay, you'll have a rough idea now. Again, you can get exact percentages. Let's check physical nourishment. We did the total nourishment. Be aware it can be different. Okay, again, relax, soft knees. Prana now provides more than 50% of my physical body's nourishment. More than 50% of my physical body's nourishment. More than 60%. Again, keep checking till you get a rough idea. Maybe it's 35. Okay, again you should have some rough indication. You can play with this later when you have more time. Let's go on your cosmic particle hydration levels. Okay, eyes closed. We're just checking how much your body can be free from the need of water. Okay, because cosmic particles can hydrate you. Soft knees, deep breath. Again, imagining that pure and perfect part of you already ascended, fully aware. I now receive more than 50% of my hydration from cosmic particles. More than 50% of my hydration. More than 60%, or more than 40 if you got a no to 50. Okay, make the statement. It is beneficial for me to spend more time in silence. It is beneficial for me to spend more time in silence. It is beneficial for me to do more selfless service. It is beneficial for me to do more meditation. Make the statement. Coffee is good for my body. Coffee is good for my body. Chocolate is good for my body. Fried food is good for my body. Okay, so when you've got some sort of reactions to all this, have a seat. Yeah, people from outside, if you've got your registration sorted, come and find a little place in the field if you want. Okay, let's have a seat again. Yeah, we can fit people here. Okay. Okay, so what we've just been showing you is very, very baby stuff, yeah? Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Can we do one little tool that I really like? Take your arm up and just bring it very, very slowly down with the reality and intention that you are bringing all your bodies into perfect center and alignment. Can you feel it? This is a really good centering tool. So anytime today we're a bit scatty, we'll just go. Feel the difference in the room straight away? Yeah. Okay. All right, so you know the percentages you got with that technique. As I said, in the beginning when we're working with this tool, if you have a strong mind, you can override this. And on one level, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Say you're confused about something and you're not sure the right answer for you. You do the sway tool and you get a forward movement. Well, maybe that's your subconscious just saying, hey, do it. Okay? I don't believe that there's any wrong or right in life, and I don't believe there's any bad choices, because everything we do will give us a gift of learning. And one of the things that Spirit's always sharing to me is one of the most limited forces that we are working with is self-judgment. Lack of kindness and self-judgment in a negative way. So it's really good to maybe have a different attitude. My attitude is everything is perfect. Everything is perfect. And then it is for me. Even if I may be a little uncomfortable on some levels, I will always get a gift of learning, as we said the other night, and will always get a virtue. Okay, I want to test 3 things with you. And I'm going to ask you stuff telepathically because I don't want your monkey mind to give you an answer. I'm going to get you to give me the answer, and then I'm going to tell you the question. Because your divine one's my divine one, it knows what I'm going to ask, yeah? Yeah. Haha. All right, and this just keeps mind out of it. Okay, so just close your eyes for a few moments.
And your mind.
Okay, what's the first color that comes into your mind?
Purple.
Okay, you know it. All right, next I want you to think of a number between 1 and 10. Okay, you don't have to think about this, it either comes or it doesn't. Okay, first color, first number, got it? Okay, open your eyes if you've got it. All right, the first thing about color is I asked your divine one what color it wants you to sleep in at night. Interesting, isn't it? Remember, when you're sleeping, you're hanging out in a frequency field for 6-8 hours. Color feeds you. So your divine one has just given you a color to start sleeping in. You don't have to buy purple sheets. This guy's called purple. But you might want to sleep in purple pajamas for a while. And the reason I introduce this is because I want you to think food comes in many ways. When I take my breakfast is a walk on the beach where I live. That's my breakfast. So when my family hear me say I'm going out for breakfast, they know I'm going for a walk on the beach. High prana. When I walk on the beach, I do something very interesting. I walk backwards. I really recommend you do barefoot backwards walking, because what happens, toes go down first, then heels. Toes have acupressure points, they get stimulated. When the acupressure points are stimulated in the brain, it has the same effect of Sufi dancing. Institutes in China have found that people are getting younger and younger by walking barefoot backwards. So we're talking about immortality tool here. Barefoot backwards walking makes you younger. It changes the flow of energy between the left and right hemisphere of your brain. So this is one way I get my breakfast, walking barefoot backwards on the beach. And all the people where I live, they go, oh, there's a crazy group of ladies walking backwards on the beach. Now and then they stop us and they go, what are you doing? And I go, actually, we're practicing immortality techniques to get younger and younger. Or whatever we're in the mood to say at the time. And you know, you can tell them all the benefits of why you're doing this and the benefits of it. And then you say, do you want to do it? Oh no, I'd look silly. It's so interesting, our mind and our thinking. So if you want to transition into living on prana, do not believe for a second it's going to make you popular. Okay? Nobody asks you out to dinner anymore. Most people don't know what to do with you. Okay? Many people are really uncomfortable in your presence because a part of them knows intuitively that, hey, maybe there's some truth in this, but it's not for them right now. And so they can be very uncomfortable with who you are as you sit there at a dinner party, maybe not drinking anything, or maybe having a cup of tea, maybe not eating anything, generally choosing maybe not to. So it doesn't make you win any popularity contest. Third, the next thing, the number I asked you to get. You know what it is? Just keep it in your own head, okay? What I asked the group energy, your divine one, to download is how much of your Christed nature you are expressing right now. So if you got 2 out of 10, then your divine one is telling you you are currently expressing 20% of your Christed nature. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just means you have huge capacity. Okay? You have huge potential. So your life can be fantastic, but your divine one is saying, bump it up, pump it up. You can express more of this divine essence. Whether you call it your Krishna nature, your Buddha nature, your Christed nature, who cares? It's just a label. The good thing about God, that divine force, it says, I don't care what you call it as long as you call it. Labels are irrelevant. Okay, so the intention is to really experience the gifts of your Christed nature, your divine nature. And I must share this. I don't care who eats or not eats, who gives a stuff. What is nice about this is that you have freedom. You have the freedom of choice. If there's a tsunami, if there's world changes, whatever's going down, and I'm not going to predict anything except to say we are coming into times of great chaos, and from these times we will come into the most amazing place you could ever imagine. You have to have a very clear idea of the reality you want to enter into, and also really give your divine one permission now to manifest all its gifts through you. Living on prana is just one little part. What people love all around the world is freedom of choice. So before we move on, what I recommend that you do is once you've kicked into this, you've done your testing, your prana percentage is running at 100%, okay, and you go, woohoo, and completely stop eating. You've cut back over time. You've gone from 3 meals a day to 2 meals a day, 2 meals a day to 1 meal a day. For example, slowly, slowly, no rush. You've gone from being vegan to raw, from raw to fruit, from fruit to just your superpower smoothie shakes or whatever, to water, slowly, slowly, no rush. So with this reality, is just because also you get 100% on something, you may not want to do it. Okay? But if you do it, I recommend you do it for at least 6 months. You do it long enough to prove to you so that every single cell of your body knows this is a truth. There is not one cell of my body who believes it needs physical food. Why? Because I've lived it. It can't be here. It has to be a deep cellular knowing of experience. Now, once you've lived it, and once you have no doubt at all about this, then set up your reality in life in a way that serves you and your family and your life best. I know some people have one meal once a month because it's a nice little social game. I know people who have one meal once a week. For example, there's a family in Germany, went through the raw food game. Mum and Dad not eating, living very successfully, not a problem on pure prana. But their children were getting unhappier and unhappier. One day they just really picked this up and said to the kids, hey, what's going on? And the kids said, we miss it. What do you miss? Well, you used to sit with us every night and we'd talk. We'd have dinner and we'd unwind from our school day and your work day, and we'd sit together and we'd share. We'd cook together, we'd clean up together, we'd break bread together, we'd eat together. I said, you don't do that anymore. You give us our food and leave us there and go off and do other stuff. You know? And so the parents thought, okay, well, we'll sit with you and we'll, talk to you and whatever during the dinner break. That was fine. But in the end, they kept adjusting till the kids were happy. And what they did was they made Sunday their day of celebration of a big family meal. They cooked together with the kids again. They got really active, really participatory. But the parents stayed on liquids. They stayed on soup. So they would have soup, a nice pumpkin soup or something light, or a cold, raw, some sort of soup, whatever. You can use your imagination, whatever works. And that would be the first course for the family. And then the kids would go on and have something a little heavier, etc. So my point is just because you can do something doesn't mean it's appropriate, always. Okay? When I first started living on prana, and I think these stories are really helpful, my children, as I said, I went through my early meditation, I went through raw food at a very young age. My perfect percentage for raw before I started living on prana was 80-20. That's what I liked, okay? I liked 20% cooked food because I like potato and I liked it done in all the different ways you can do potato apart from raw. So when I started to live purely on prana, it was in the early 90s and my children were still at home. So I had teenage children around. And one day, my youngest daughter, who was about 16, she was in her final year of school, and she came in and she said, got an invitation for a school awards night. And I went, yeah, cool, I'll be there, no problem, you know that. And she said, yeah, but I just want to check something with you. She said, it's a school awards night, it's my night. And I went, yeah, I know. And she said, it's a dinner? And I went, yeah, that's cool. And she said, no, it's not. You don't get it. It's my night, and you're going to come, and they're going to have dinner, and you're not going to take anything, and people are going to notice. And they're going to say, aren't you eating? And you'll probably say, I never eat. I don't eat food. And she said, and then the whole table are going to be, really? What? The whole emphasis is going to shift to you. And she said, so, Mother, I'm just saying it is my night. And I said to her, but honey, I don't want to eat just for saving, whatever, to lessen the attention. And she said, I thought you'd say that. I've got a plan. Clever girl. So I said, okay, give me a plan. She said, well, it's a buffet. So you come in and you just take a little bit of everything and you put it on your plate. You go and sit down with everyone else with all their food on their plate. You cut it up, you move it all around. You talk to them. You don't actually have to eat anything, but they won't notice. And I thought, okay, that's cool, I can do that. So that's exactly what I did. And I just covered up and I moved it around. And at the end of the night, the people at my table looked at my plate, because there wasn't much there to begin with, but they didn't really notice. And they said, oh, you don't eat much. And I truthfully said, no, I eat light. As you know, in the English language, language could mean lightly, which is what they heard. Now, some people would say, but you're not being in your truth. Truth, schmooth, I don't give a stuff about that. What I care about is how my kids are, how my family is, how it's affecting those I love. And honestly, once you've done this and you've proven it, who do you have to prove this to? This is not about proving anything to the world. This is just about proving it to you by living it. So we don't advocate this stop eating and never eat again. When I first went to Europe and I would say to people, did you know there's this energy of love that is so incredible, and when it pulses through you, it frees you from all your hungers and you never have to eat again? Most people would go, I don't want to do that. So my marketing changed. Did you know there's this energy of incredible love that pulses through you and it can free you from all your hungers, so you have freedom of choice as to whether you want to eat for pleasure or instead of for need? And people go, I'll have some of that.
Yeah.
See the difference?
Yeah.
This is just freedom of choice. So the game is prove it to you long enough. Okay. Find Mother's heart or God, then you can do that. Just let it work in your mind. We are going to just imagine this inner plane ray of love connecting you from divine heart to your heart chakra. We're going to work with the heart as if it's a nose. So you just breathe it in from the inner planes and then breathe it out into the body. So you are inhaling, drinking of this endless field of love inside of you. With the intention, you are drawing from something so pure and so perfect. It has all the vitamins, all the minerals, everything you need to nourish you. So on the exhale, you're going to exhale it out with mind power, in through the body, through the cells, to feed every atom, every cell with this pure form of nourishment. Okay, that's our intention in this breathing rhythm, why we're doing it. Now let's look at 3 mantras that go with this. Give me back your attention. We're going to take you through a guided meditation and really let you feel this difference in a moment. It's very important with the work that I do that you understand the simplicity and the power. Okay? I don't do things in a complicated manner anymore. I like it simple. But you need to understand exactly what you're commanding with these mantras. 3 mantras. I am love. I am infinite. I am eternal. What is your Christ nature? What is your Buddhic nature? If not love, if not eternal, if not infinite. So when we do this breathing rhythm, on the inhale, I am. But I am what? What are you thinking when you're commanding, I am? Maybe you're thinking, I am this pure and perfect ascended being, because there is a part of you that is. Maybe it has 33,000 volts of electricity and the physical system can only handle 3,000. But it is inside, it is in this matrix, and on the I am, that's what you're drawing through. So you're, I am the Christed one. I am the Buddhic one. I am the enlightened one. I am the ascended one. I am the pure and perfect one. I am the God that I am. Whatever. Okay? That's the I am. Now its essence is just love. So, I am love. This mantra, when you say this, you start to change cellular behavior. Straight away when you command this, every little cell of your body starts to go and open up to the fields of love. Because its master is saying, I am love. And the cells go, really? My master says I'm love. And it just starts to open you up to all those pure fields. The second part of the mantra, I am eternal. the same, the cellular structure goes, my master says I'm eternal. And it starts to immediately reclaim its eternal, immortal nature. Because we are getting rid of these self-imposed boundaries that say, I am a human being, I am in a body, we all are born, we all age, we all die. Delete, delete, delete. Okay? That's yesterday paradigm. Today paradigm is, what is your Christed nature? What is you as a fully enlightened being? What is you made pure and perfect, beyond all the other stuff we think? So, first mantra, I am love. I am eternal. And I am infinite, which moves our boundaries out through the matrices, through all the multi-dimensional, interdimensional worlds. The body opens those little doors in every atom that science says are doors to other universes. So how simple is that? 3 mantras. At the same time, the intention that what you're breathing through this heart chakra can deliver into the system on the exhale all the vitamins, all the minerals, everything you need to be strong, healthy, self-sustaining, self-regenerating. Yeah? We cool? Let's go. So I'm going to play some sacred mantras from the Divine Mother Heart. Okay, if you're sitting there meditating, do something with your hands. Okay, the universe, remember the quantum field surrounds you and it reads everything about you and responds accordingly. I like two mudras. One mudra, middle finger up, your other finger's connecting, thumb down. What do you get? Heart. Middle finger. Okay? So middle finger connecting, like this. This is the mantra that Buddha gave for you to let go of addictions. Okay? It's also a mudra that symbolizes to the greater field that you are open to divine marriage. The triangle represents higher communication, the marriage of mind, and the love heart, obviously, of heart. So when you're sitting there meditating, you may as well do something with your hands as far as setting up certain electrical circuitry in your body. Next thing, another mudra I like, which is really easy. You can't sit with it like that because your arms are going to get really sore. Just stick it in your lap. In your lap. Because if you're sitting like this and we end up doing a couple of hours meditation, which we won't, but if we did, after a while you're like, oh, painful, instead of focusing on the love flow. Second mudra I like is, again, very simple. And that's like this. You're literally crossing your thumbs over at the front. These ones are weaving like that, and the 4 fingers are just in a triangle. Okay? This again just is a mudra that sets up certain energy circuitry flow in the body, and when you rest it in your lap comfortably, again it says you're open for higher communication. So again, a nice simple mudra. Secondly, in my meditations, tongue always on the roof of your mouth, okay? Again, we will get to meditation, but I just want to set a few things up. I want to share different things with you for stimulation of your glands. One of the reasons people can live successfully on prana is how their pituitary and pineal glands are behaving. These are the master glands of our body. These are the glands that our Divine One communicates with us through. They're our 6th sense of intuition, our 7th sense of knowing. 2 tools to stimulate these glands. As we said the other night, tongue on the roof of the mouth with the imagining, as I'll talk you through this, that you're sending energy up an invisible channel to stimulate the pituitary gland to produce more amrita. Okay, easy? That's what it does. The yogis call it the manna from heaven. It's the fountain of youth that makes you younger. As I said the other night, when your tongue's in this position, you can't talk. Next one, girls. I want you to take the muscles around your clitoris and you're going to start contracting and releasing them. Not around the vagina, not the perineum, around the clitoris. Men, your muscles are in your scrotum. Don't ask me where it is, I don't have one, but you guys do. Again, you're going to just contract and release these muscles. What you have is, as you know, many of you, an invisible energy channel from here straight up that connects with the pineal gland. The pineal gland produces pinealine. Pinealine is a frequency that floods through the brain, keeps it in alpha, takes it to theta, is brain food, activates your clairvoyant abilities, activates your clairaudient abilities, your clairsentient abilities. In other words, this stimulation of the sexual muscles takes pure creative life force whoosh, up here. The sensitive ones among you, when we do this, you will feel your pineal gland pulsing in response. So it's like you get pulse, 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 okay? That's what, if you're sensitive, you will feel this. This is another way of feeding your brain. Forget your vitamins, minerals, let's just use creative life force energy. We are not here doing this to get you horny. We are doing this to simply get food into your brain. So always tongue on the roof of the mouth, and we'll do the muscle contraction just for a little bit to send it up the channels. So hands in your mudra, eyes closed. Let's go back with this music. Unfortunately, those of you closed will hear it more. So, tongue resting lightly on the roof of your mouth. Hands in your mudra. And all we're going to do in this meditation is let you come into a unified field of love and feeling. And set a few programs. So I want you to slow your breathing right down. Maybe if you normally breathe 5 breaths a minute, bring it down to 2 or 3. And I want you to make your breathing very, very refined. A refined breath allows you to move into the subtle, more refined realms of existence. And I want you to focus on just allowing your inhale to flow very naturally into your exhale without pause. Deep, fine, connected, slow breathing. Tongue is resting lightly on the roof of your mouth. Anywhere, just make it comfortable. And you imagine as the tongue tip rests on the roof of the mouth that it is sending an energy pulse up an invisible channel into the pituitary gland. Your master gland for telepathic receiving. Just imagine a colour pulsing up from the tip of the tongue into this gland. What colour comes? You imagine this pituitary gland is in the center of your head, behind the eyes and the nose. Your body knows where. And you imagine that it is being stimulated by this energy flow and color. Because you know that wherever mind goes in the body, chi will follow. And while your tongue rests lightly there, and you're breathing in this deep rhythm, you bring your mind into your sexual centers, the clitoris, the scrotum, and you begin to contract and release these muscles. And as you contract and release them, you imagine you're gathering energy of that pure, creative life force. What color comes to you in your mind as you gather this energy of sexual creative force? Again, just imagine sending this color up an invisible channel inside, and that this channel connects to the pineal gland. Imagining as you gather this energy and it floods up inside to the pineal gland, that the pineal gland is now pulsing out in visible waves of pure brain food, pinealian. Perhaps you wish to contract these muscles quickly or slowly. Your intention is that you're just gathering food for the brain. Some of you may feel the brain, the pinealian, the pineal gland pulsing in response. Perhaps you imagine as you contract and release these muscles that it goes up the internal channel and through the heart chakra to gather pure love, to mix with this creative life force energy, to then flood the master glands to feed the brain. And you stop contracting and releasing these muscles. Tongue still rests lightly on the roof of your mouth. You put your mind now into your heart chakra. Just see it as a dimensional door. Imagining that this is the doorway through which your divine nature is anchored into this world. The divine mother heart, or that supreme heart of infinite love that gave birth to intelligence and life. You imagine it sending a ray of pink love light through space, through time, through the dimensions, into this space on the inner realms to anchor into your heart chakra. It is widening the connection already there, and perhaps you see this now as a cosmic freeway of pure love, connecting you, supreme heart, to human heart chakra. Perhaps you just see, as you focus in through the door of the heart chakra, that behind the heart chakra door is an infinite field of the deepest currents of the purest love bubbling in the matrix. And you breathe. Mind in the heart chakra, pretending the heart chakra has a nose. You inhale deeply of this infinite field of love within. Just imagine your fully enlightened, ascended self, residing in all its glory in perhaps a higher dimensional range of pure frequency. And with every inhale you are drawing more of it from the inner realms to exhale this pure nutrition, love, into the physical body as you breathe out. Drinking deeply of this pure nourishment, breakfast, lunch and dinner. And then exhaling out into the body to fill every organ, every cell, every atom. Inhale, drinking deeply of this infinite source of love within. Exhale, send it out into the body to nourish it with what it is really hungry for. We apply the mantras and just be aware of how the cells react with these statements. On the inhale, as we drink from the inner plane field of love, we chant, I am. Just breathing so deeply and slowly. And on the exhale we chant as we send this love through the body. Love. Just staying with this mantra in silence for a few moments with this breathing rhythm. I am. Love. Making sure your mind is your servant and it doesn't carry you off to think about dinner or shopping or loved ones. You are giving yourself your lunch. Just deep breath, inhaling through the door of the heart of the purest field of love. I am. Sending it out through the body to really nourish you physically, emotionally, mentally. Love. Next mantra. Inhale again, drinking through the door of the heart chakra of this field of love. I am. Exhale, eternal. I am. Eternal. Again, keeping your mind focused on this mantra as if you, the divinity you are reprogramming your cells to open and embrace their eternal, immortal nature. with this chant as you breathe in the love and feed your body with it and use this chant. I am infinite. And again, we keep focused on this breathing rhythm, drawing from this infinite field of love within, exhaling it out into the body to give it true nourishment. And we use the mantras in the silence for the next few moments, one after the other. Just being aware of any cellular reaction. I am love. I am eternal. I am infinite. Slow, deep breathing with these mantras and this intention. And just thinking about that pure and perfect part of you that is already filled with light and love. Christed one within the Buddhic one, the ascended one. Just focusing for a few minutes on this part of your nature. Breathing deeply, holding this focus. You imagine that it is the boss, the king, the queen of this complex supercomputer called the human body and mind. You imagine it is all-knowing, all-powerful, all-loving, all-wise. Perhaps you invite it now sincerely to do the following. If it feels right, just say yes, 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 or no, no, no. You're the master of your system. Deep breath. I now surrender every cell, every atom of my being to the Divine One within, to the God I am. Teach me, love me, guide me, heal me, nourish me on all levels of my being. I ask that you guide me into living purely on prana, on your love, with joy, ease and grace, in perfect time, in harmony with all. If this feels right, you just say yes, yes, yes. And we take a few moments in the silence, imagining every cell of our being is listening, our divine essence listening. What else would you like to ask for or intend? And you imagine now one word coming within you that represents a virtue. What is this word? This is a virtue that your Divine One would like you to focus more on, to understand more deeply, to develop more deeply, or to exhibit more purely. And we place our hand on our heart chakra and just tune it to the sound of love with 3 R's. And when you're ready, just open your eyes. Have a stretch. Oh. Jasmuheen's breakfast. Did you like that? You know what this does? It unifies us into the same frequency. I found with living on prana, sometimes I would go into a room and you could feel the energies of people, of if they'd heard who I was or whatever, and they'd be like, she's crazy, she thinks she can live without food, blah, 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 or whatever. And for me, what I had to learn was to hold my space in that room, and not only just hold my space, but transmute those frequencies. And this is a really interesting tool. You can go to a party, you can be at Christmas with the folks, you can be anywhere, and you can just sit quietly in a corner, zip it, and do the love breath. I am love, I am infinite, I am eternal. My husband does this at parties, and by the end of the night, every beautiful woman has come and sat with him. Boys, good tool. Okay? He doesn't do it with the intention to be a chick magnet. He does it with the intention just to really feel the deepest, purest currents of love in that field. And because he is not a jealous person and I am not a jealous person, I think it's lovely that every beautiful woman has come and spoken to him, because on the other side of the party, I've got all the boys. And all the kids, and the dogs, and the cats, and the grandmothers, and everyone else. So, you know, if you really want to come into that totally unified space, and have your presence feed the field, then zip it, do the love breath. Okay, if you're relaxed, have a seat again. How many of you here could feel your cells responding when you use the mantra, I am love? Yeah. How many of you felt your cells responding when you use the mantra, I am infinite? Yeah. Whoa! Just when I first started using this, What about I am eternal? Oh yeah. How many of you could feel your pineal gland pulsing when you were doing the contractions? How many of you got that? Okay. I spent some... oh yeah. Some of the stuff that I'm sharing with you, I've spent many years researching. I've been consciously researching this stuff for 44 years. So we can share this simply with you today. One of the things that I did was I went and did some of the teachings of Mantak Chia, his 21-day dark room, which we talked about dark room earlier. I like the way that I'm now doing it better than what he does, because it just brings you into the prana program as well as experience the gifts of dark room. The dark room is actually Divine Mother's womb of pure love. It teaches you what it's like to be a blind person. You can walk into a room and you think, oh, I better go slow here because the chair's there. But the chair's not there. It's right back there. But you pick up its energy emanations. So it teaches you about all levels of sensitivity. This pulsing from the sexual energy up through the inner channel is one of the tools of the Taoist immortals. This is how they feed their body with an alternate nourishment. What I like about it is, as we were practicing this in the dark room, one day I did this, I had 2 pulses, 2 contractions, straight away heart orgasm, and I went, whoa, I like it. You know, that's nice to think that the energy channels can be so clear that you can just do one little technique, another little pulse, brain orgasm. This orgasm, this orgasm, this orgasm, whole body orgasm, where every cell of your being just sings in celebration because of the level of love of your own pure nature that is pulsing through you. That's nourishment, as we said the other night. And that's food. And the beauty of this is, imagine releasing such nourishment through you that you come into a space you have no questions anymore. None, nada, zippo. And it's not because you know everything from your ego mind. It's because that sense of, I know what I know even though I'm not quite sure what it is that I know, but I know it game is so strong that your Divine One really is in charge. It really is pulsing through you. It really is radiating through every cell of your body. Another game. When you do this love breath, I really want you to learn to meditate with your eyes open. When you inhale to the eyes, you draw it through the heart up to the eyes. What happens? What's coming out of your eyes? Oh. When you sit there in meditation, what are you saying? Leave me alone. I'm in silence. Go away. Do not disturb. It's fine for a solo trip. It's not a solo trip anymore. It's a unified game. Train yourself to sit in meditation, eyes open, and allow the divine love flow to not just pulse through every cell of your body, but also out through your eyes. And when it's pulsing out through your eyes, set the intention that as this love flow blows through these eyes, it is realigning your internal and external vision to always see the perfect path before you that will bring you into this state of paradise. Yeah? What a good intention. Remember, love beams, intention creates vortexes, creates realities. Next, when you're doing the love breath up into the eyes, then you set the intention that with these beams of love coming out of your eyes, you see the Christed One within everybody. You see the Christ in their heart or their Buddha heart. You see the Christ in their eyes. You know, this last November, do you mind me prattling on and just giving you all this? Okay.
Yay!
I know. Okay, well, we're not going to do that. We're going to override this game, but leave it to me. We'll have a break in a few moments. I just want to tell the story. Last November, I went to the Amazon jungles. Mother Mary had come to me about a year before and told me that part of my work was to work more with the indigenous people of our world, which is fantastic because there's such truth held in the indigenous cultures, and we won't even get me started on that one. So I found myself in the heart of the Amazons with a particular tribe. I didn't know where I was going. Mother Mary just said, trust, show up, act impeccably as you do, and it'll all be wonderful, as it was. And so after 2 days of traveling by canoe and jeep and whatever we were doing and nearly being killed in the process, stories, I won't go into it here. I've just about finished a book called The Bliss of Brazil and the Second Coming. Okay, so you can read it and get it online in the next few months. But I found myself in the heart of this jungle, and I have to share with you. I came into a tribe of people, a community who had the most amazing intention. Their intention was that they would coexist in the heart of the Amazons in absolute harmony with all. That was their major intention, absolute harmony inside and outside, to the degree that the mosquitoes would not bite them. Now, those of you who have ever been to the jungle, there's all sorts of bitey things in there. I saw a spider this big, about that far away. It's like, hello. I must tell you, before I went into the jungle, all my friends and family were going, you crazy, what are you going there for? It's so dangerous. And I had, you know, my inner child was going, and I just decided I would walk through the jungle in a frequency field of a slightly different frequency from the bitey things. Is that a good intention? It was a really good intention, so the bitey things and I could coexist, but we wouldn't actually, you know, come head on. But I didn't need to. I came into a community where there was such harmony, where these people's pure intention was that they, like my friend running in the forest, that they would move through their life, through the jungle, in such a field of resonance with everything that everything coexisted beautifully. And it was interesting because where I was in this little place outside, the woman never had any mosquitoes. She'd actually set up telepathic connection with the mosquitoes, you know, doing a deal where they never bit her, and it was great to be a guest in her house. Because on the other side of the village, there were people who weren't quite as tuned, and they were getting bitten by mosquitoes, etc. The point of this is because of the intention of this group in this village, they did things like this. They'd gather with the head of the village, the elders, and they'd go like this in community, and they'd go, right now, we are to have pure and focused and firm thinking on the queen of the forest. That was the instruction. So for half an hour, everyone would sit there, the queen of the forest. Now the queen of the forest is Isis, the goddess, Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, you name it, just another goddess expression. But if you get a group of people doing this over and over, the energy vortex they create, whoa! So I come into their energy fields and I look up into my inner plane in meditation when we're all meditating, and there's Mother Mary 1,500 feet high, just beaming down her love into this community, because all they're doing is pure and firm and focused attention with great love on the queen of the forest, that goddess that drives Gaia, that is Gaia. How cool is that? Firm, focused, clear intention. As I was there doing what we were asked to come in and share the prana program with them because they wanted to be free from external resources. Too much petrol, too much noise, zipping down the river. Often it's in drought to get supplies back up into their community. They wanted to go back to living on a more simple diet, including prana, which was great. One of the experiences I had there in deep meditation with this group was connecting with the Christ. Now the Christed energy is huge through the Amazon jungle because the Amazon jungle is pure heart. It's the heart energy, it's just holding this incredible frequency for our planet. And as I'm in deep meditation, connecting with this one, talking about my work, my service in the world, which I won't go into, it's between us. And at one point I thought, wow, how do I do all that? And the Christ had once said something I have to share with you. Anytime you're feeling overwhelmed, no matter what you're doing, no matter what's happening, maybe you've got an insight to your blueprint or work in the world, and it might overwhelm you. This is the method. He said, look for the Christ in the heart of everyone you meet. Look for the eyes of the Christ in their eyes, and in the looking, they will see what you see, and they will blossom. And I thought, I can do that. That's it. We don't have to save the world. We don't have to do any of that stuff. We just need to train ourselves to see the Christ at heart, or the Buddhic heart, whatever you call it, again, labels. Just look in the heart of everyone you meet, in their eyes, and they will see what you are seeing, because you've trained yourself. How do people respond when you look at them with eyes of judgment? How do they respond when you look at them with eyes of love? Zip it, see it, radiate it. Pretty simple formula. So this love breath, you draw it in through the door of the heart chakra. Remember, 5,000 times radiation more powerful than the mind, and let it flow out through the eyes and through every pore of your being with the intention. It nourishes me, it nourishes the world. Pretty easy? Okay.